team that you did mention, Supatees, was Rockets Esports. We're going to be seeing a little bit from them. They're teaming up against Method Synergy, so don't go anywhere. When we return, we are going to see those two teams face off.
The 2017 World of Warcraft Arena World Championship is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Rockets versus Method Synergy. This is going to be one of the closest matchups I think we see today, and also both of these teams find themselves in probably the most dominating positions in this tournament. My name is Rich Campbell. I'm going to be your host on the desk, and joining me here, we have both Supatees and Venruki to cast, and our expert on the end of the desk, we have Sidu. And I want to kick it right off with you, Chuck, because I know that you said you actually think one of these teams has an incredible chance of winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I definitely kind of placed my bet on Rockets at the start of this tournament. They were looking really good. Having a chance to talk to them, they had so many tricks up their sleeves that they haven't even had a chance to use yet. So there's so many opportunities. I think this is going to be a close one. Obviously, I'm very close with Method Synergy. I'm definitely pulling for them. They are my favorites in this tournament as people, as players. But I think Rockets might have them in this one, and I'm kind of sad.
I see what you're doing, Sidu. You know the commentator's curse. You're just picking the other team because you want them to lose. You're working the system a little bit there. You figured out how it worked after Sneaky Snakes.
He's figuring it out very quickly here. But what is it about Rockets that does make them such a powerful team?
Well, I actually had a chance to speak to Method Triforce, and they actually think they're probably one of the strongest teams in this tournament, too. And that's coming from someone who is currently 9-0 in this tournament. They just said they put the work in. They're doing their homework. They're studying. And you can't argue with their results so far. They are just performing very well on stage, as are Method Synergy. So I think this is why it's going to be one of the best series of the day so far.
And want to set the stage here just a little bit and let you know what they are actually playing for. Whoever does take this one is going to get first place in their group. That means they will get a bye. Whoever comes in second place here, whoever loses, comes in second place in their group. And that actually means now, after the matches that we just saw, they will be playing against Panda Global. So we get a pretty good idea of where these teams will actually fall after this series does play out. Now, Elliot, my question for you, we've seen Rockets play quite a few matches. They tend to play that cleave play style. Do you think we see that again here?
Well, Rockets in this tournament so far, they've been playing a lot of the Elemental Shaman, the Warrior, and that Resto Druid. It seems to be a very popular composition. Method Synergy, I said it in their last series, they seem to always have an answer. They always have a response. It's going to be interesting to see if they can finally deal with this Thundercleave that's going to be coming out from Rockets most likely.
I mean, that's the really exciting thing as we're about to jump into this game. Blind pick on the Grand Arena is what compositions we will actually see coming out of these teams.
I don't want to surprise it, but I think Leanne is going to have a hard time with what Method Synergy have locked in. Colo, I would say, is probably the best shaman at pressing Purge. Guess what he's going to do in this game?
I mean, that's something that we already know definitely likes to do, and let's see if that is how it is going to play out. Rockets versus Method Synergy.
Yep, Colo definitely going to be playing that Electrocute, and we've seen some European teams struggle against the strategy in the past. Leanne's going to have to do a very good job managing his HOTS, managing his Iron Bark to keep his team alive. I expect Method Synergy to get hyper-aggressive in the opener, just spamming out Purge and putting out a ton of damage.
Yeah, this was something that I think Splice was a bit afraid to do. They didn't want to lock in Novos on Shaman, so they kept Druid for the long game. But Shaman can definitely get some kills early on. The Demon Hunter and Windwalker are going to have basically 100% uptime, the most mobile melee in the game. Jamie's going to have to be on the ball. Colo is crossing the map. They're going to start this initiation. Jamie down to half already. Tons of damage. Overlapped cooldowns. Rockets Eclipse falling apart a bit here early on to Method Synergy's damage.
Yep, that is the Iron Bark. That is going to be the single thing that keeps Jamie alive, as well as that Astral Shift. Jamie's going to be in a lot of trouble right now. Mez and Trill going all in. Look at Colo's mana. He's going to be spamming out that Purge. Jamie gets lower and lower. Can Method Synergy take him down? He's doing a great job kiting so far. The Touch of Death has been committed. Takes a huge amount of burst from that. Colo actually charging in, interrupting Jamie there. Still continuing to spam out that Purge. Stun onto Jamie. If they can get any crowd control over onto Leanne, Jamie will likely go down. Colo throws out the Spear Link. Darkness comes in as well from Mez, so they can continue this onslaught, but Jamie manages to stabilize.
Yeah, they're still just going all in at this point. Colo has no other options. It's do or die. Jamie needs to go down, and this game is going to end in favor of Rockets Eclipse. Colo is falling behind. He can no longer purge. They just need raw damage, but Lene is ready and waiting. The Imprison was 1 second too late. He has full HOTS on Jamie. It might not be enough damage to put him over the edge. He's trying to kite away, but he's kiting away from Leanne. Jamie getting a little bit disoriented there. Voodoo onto the Druid. Jamie trying to pick himself back up, but Colo's completely tapped on mana. He's pressed purge so many times. Will they be able to take him down? They're running on the clock. Jamie kiting across the map. Colo can no longer keep up. It's going to be up to Trill and Mez to take Jamie out. Leanne trying to keep him alive. Iron Bark has now faded. Defensive cooldowns are over, and Nerd Rage is going to claim the kill. Method Synergy lead with their full aggression in game number 1, but Rockets Eclipse stay alive. They're still playing it out, trying to see if they can get anything done, but I doubt that anything is going to result. Maybe something's going to result. Astral Shift is 2 seconds away. Leanne now in no crowd control with Astral Shift available. Jamie should easily survive. Well done from Rockets Eclipse. I questioned the overlap of Ironbark and Astral Shift at the start, but it seems like Method Synergy weren't able to punish it enough.
Well, one of the big things that we definitely did see there as well was Method Synergy really playing a playstyle that we do know them for. Being very aggressive here, trying to force the other team to make a mistake. But is it safe to say, Sidu, that we did not see that mistake come in on the other side?
Yeah, absolutely. Rockets just kept their composure that entire time. They overlapped some cooldowns, but there was something that was definitely communicated. They knew that they needed both. They knew they were playing all in, and I think it was an excellent job by Nerd Rage with the peels, with the target choice. He knew going on Colo was going to stop those purges more than going on DPS, and that's something that only a very knowledgeable player is going to know. Instead of peeling the DPS, you're actually peeling the healer in that situation to stop the onslaught of purges. So great job by Nerd Rage, and great job by Rockets Eclipse in general, just to keep their composure in that match.
Let's take a look at how Rockets was actually able to brush off that onslaught that was coming in from Method. We have a few of the plays here from that last match, and here we go, Sidu. I want you to break this one down for us.
So let's just go ahead and get started here with this first in cap on Leanne. He was playing Trinket, and I think that's a really excellent choice by him. And obviously, you could see Method Synergies going in right in from the start, and the Stormbolt to initially deny those purges. That's something you would normally see on the DPS, but Nerd Rage just knowing exactly what's going to happen. He kind of expected this from Method Synergy. So you see this CC chain on Leanne, and this is exactly where they get that Astral Shift and Ironbark, but the pressure does not stop, and you could see Colo uses his entire mana bar in the first minute and a half of a game to make sure they could try and secure that kill, but unfortunately they weren't able to. Rockets Eclipse take this one 1-0.
Now, we talk about Nerd Rage just being super important in that game. What did he actually manage to do, Venruki, that was so impressive here? I mean, Chuck started to highlight some of the things, but I want to hear from you as well.
Well, basically, as a warrior, what you want to do is you want to get trinkets with stuns, and once they trinket, you can throw out those fears, and if they trinket your fear, then you can throw out those stuns. Basically, you want to keep your team alive. You have other tools like Disarm, and if you use those tools correctly, that's how, we just saw Jamie was able to survive, because Nerd Rage was preventing so much damage coming in from Mez, as well as Trill just playing point guard for his team, doing an excellent job, and that's really the only reason that they managed to survive.
And we talk about Method loving to be the team that forces the other team to make a mistake here, Supatees. Do you think they go in with this aggressive play style yet again in this next match, or is it just too all in?
I mean, if the other team knows it's coming, they can kind of predict it. The biggest surprise that they can keep always is what target they're going to run down the whole game. I'm wondering if maybe the Elemental Shaman wasn't the best target to run down. Normally as Windwalker Death Knights, Arsham, I've seen them rush Warriors because the Warrior's going to line of sight the Druid behind the pillar, and then they burst him down in a stun behind the box. But I don't know if it's different with Demon Hunter Windwalker, if you would rather focus down the Ellie. But if Method Synergy want to keep up this aggressive strategy, I don't think they're going to be able to tunnel the same target every game, or it's going to become too predictable.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Method Synergy being a team that loves to be super aggressive. They also love counter-comping, and that's actually something they're going to be able to do here, Sidu. Do you expect them to try to just play that counter-comping game again?
Well, I'm actually kind of curious because at this point it's pretty obvious Rockets is going to lock in that Thunder. They played it every single game so far in this tournament, so it was really easy for Method Synergy to pinpoint them on that. So that to me says this is a matchup they wanted. They actually wanted this, and I think this all-in strategy that they have is something that if it's not going to catch you off guard, it's not actually going to be able to win you that many games, and I don't know where that really leaves them in terms of options. I don't really know what they have available, so I'm kind of stumped here. I think maybe Method Synergy goes for the same thing on a smaller map, maybe like Sid said, different target choices, but right now it's not looking good.
Well, there's that smaller map. We do see the selection here for Method Synergy going to be Dollar and Sewers. Now, what do you think, Venruki, about this smaller map? What will Method Synergy be able to do with this?
Well, I mean, in the last game, although Rockets Eclipse did manage to win, it was very close. I mean, Jamie was on that last few percentage points of HP, a few more crits. Maybe Method Synergy could have actually taken them down. Maybe they just want to stick to their guns, go with that all-in strategy, really put a lot of pressure onto Rockets Eclipse to survive. That smaller map's going to be a lot easier for them. It's going to be more difficult for Jamie to actually kite around. Maybe Method Synergy can switch up their composition, try 2 other melee DPS for sort of an all-in strategy. Maybe Demon Hunter Windwalker, not necessarily the best. We've seen them play crazy stuff in the past. Maybe they'll do it again.
That all-in strategy definitely putting on a show for everyone here at BlizzCon as well. But Sidu, for anyone who's just tuning in for the first time and may not know the game as well, what is it about the Thundercleave that's making us see it so much in this tournament?
Well, Thundercleave just has everything that you want in a composition. It's strong defensively, it's strong offensively, it has a lot of cooldowns you can rotate in terms of peeling, in terms of surviving. You have the Astral Shift, the Iron Bark, and Druids have such great longevity. You can actually decide to just play super passive and kind of out-damage people. It's what you would call almost dampening comps in some situation, but you have the option of playing aggressive, like you kind of saw there. They were able to shut that down, and that was about a minute-and-a-half game, so it's just a very well-rounded comp. It's one of the comps that play very well at tournaments, as opposed to some of those setup comps. You get to play off other people's mistakes instead of actually trying to set up your own opportunities. So overall, just a well-rounded comp.
That's very important as well. The fact that it does perform so well in the tournament setting. It's been one of these compositions that we didn't necessarily see in online qualifiers. Obviously, there is that meta shift as well, but the second it got onto land, just being a powerhouse composition here, ball in Method's court here. They need to figure this one out, and finally, they are going to lock it in. Now, this is an interesting choice here, Chuck.
Honestly, Windwalker DK and the Thundercleave is generally, once again, a very bad matchup. You can kind of see Synergy doesn't really know what to go for here. I think they're going to go for a very similar option where they're just going to try and play very aggressively, but Nerd Rage is going to be sitting on Mez the entire time. He's not going to be able to connect to his target, and I think overall, if they don't win in the first minute, I think Colo's going to own himself with Purges once again, and we're going to see a similar result to the first map.
We've seen so many people actually on the flipping this around and locking Thunder into the Windwalker DK. So it's interesting to see, Elliot, Method making this choice here.
Well, we've seen, both Method, Triforce, and Rockets, they have prepared this Thundercleave. They knew that they needed to have something, some sort of answer for Windwalker DK, and that seems to be it. So like you said, it's kind of interesting how Method Synergy opting to go against the grain, playing something, they're almost considered to be countered in this matchup, but they say, you know what, we're going to go in Dalaran Arena, maybe they play hyper-aggressive again, and maybe they can make something work.
Well, one of the very interesting things that we actually did hear from Mez was he likes to take those matchups, even the matchups where he would be down, where most people would say they are countered, and he likes to get the percentage up to 50%. That's his goal for everything. So you know that they were wargaming this, trying to get it up to that 50% at the very least, and we'll have to see if Method Synergy, against all odds with this composition, will be able to cut down Rocket's Eclipse and tie up this series.
Yep, we're going to be looking for an all-in strategy from Method Synergy. Once again, Colo, he's known to be that super aggressive Shaman, so look for those offensive cooldowns very early on, and Cole spamming out those purges. We'll have to see how Leanne and Jamie can respond.
Yeah, the gates have opened as we march into Dalaran Sewers. Will Mez switching over into Death Knight be enough for them to claim victory? Colo went all out. I really think that's their only way to win. If they don't go all in, they're not going to win the long game. They grip Leanne in. Colo in position to purge. Nerd Rage trying to peel. Disarm onto the Pillar of Frost, but Leanne is still getting bursted down pretty heavily. Opts to jump down below. That means they can both connect. He blinks away. They need to find a reconnect as soon as possible before Leanne can restabilize. He does. Manages to pick himself back up, and I believe that Leanne is going to struggle to heal Jamie now as they switched back to him. Astral Shift will be traded out. They know they need to trade cooldowns early on to survive the Purge assault. A full Hex was secured, though. Colo is falling behind. The initial aggression has been thwarted, and now that the all-in is basically over, what do you do as Method Synergy?
This is looking really good for Rockets Eclipse. Leanne just using that Iron Bark now. Jamie should be able to survive a little bit longer. Maybe Method Synergy has one more chance, but Leanne still has his Trinket, so Rockets Eclipse doing an excellent job in terms of defense. Mez getting lower and lower, and like we said, they are on sort of a time limit. They need to make something happen in this matchup. Jamie down to around 50% HP right now. He doesn't have that Astral Shift. Maybe they can get some pressure out, but Mez just having such a difficult time actually connecting to his target.
Yeah, ride the wind down from Trill as Mez makes his way across the map. Jamie is just running laps. I don't know if he's an Olympic runner or if this is arena, but Jamie seems to be untouchable at this point as he keeps making his rounds on the outside, knowing that Colo's mana will be burned through. They make a desperation move. They grip Leanne in. They're trying to burst down Jamie. They drop the Cinder Ghost, so they're going all in. Can Nerd Rage peel them away long enough? War Stomp to buy them a couple seconds. Full Hex with the Voodoo Totem buys them another global cooldown, and it's not enough. Jamie once again on the run. Trill drops that Ride the Wind. Mez is going to look to surf his way back to the target, but not able to find it. Tons of burst. Spirit Link Force. Colo is tapped, and Rockets Eclipse are looking to close.
Yeah, Leanne throwing out that Iron Bark immediately, trying to make Jamie just a little bit more tanky. Fist of Fury coming in from Trill. A lot of pressure out onto Rockets, but they just need to survive a little bit longer. Colo has no mana left. Mez might be able to sustain with that Icebound Fortitude, but Colo will not last longer. Gets interrupted by Nerd Rage. Nerd Rage trying to make some plays right now. Colo running away, managing to escape, so Nerd Rage turns its attention over onto Mez, just making it so difficult for this Frost Knight to actually land some damage on his target.
Yeah, Jamie using the map very effectively. He can also jump down and up, but Mez gets caught into the Storm Bolt. Trinkets out, barely survives, but Colo has nothing left. Mez gets knocked to the bottom, and Nerd Rage is slowly marching his way, gets leg swept away by Trill. 1 second away from death. Mez desperately clings to his life, but with nothing left
left in the tank for Colo. There's no way for him to survive. And Rockets Eclipse lead this series 2-0.
And now they are just one game away from being #1 in their group. This team looking incredible, and it's pretty obvious why Sea-Doo is saying they are a force to be reckoned with.
Like I said, this is a really bad matchup for Synergy. I really don't think it's something they wanted. I really think they were trying to catch them off guard with how offensive they want to play, but you could see how fast they're gassing out. Rockets is not falling for it. They're rotating defensives perfectly. They're not underusing, they're not overusing. Lian is not being put in a position where he's feeling uncomfortable, and he's been playing phenomenal all tournament, and he continues to do so.
With all of that in mind, going into this next game, we want to know what you at home think. You can jump into Twitch chat and vote for your favorite team here. Do you think that Rockets Eclipse is going to be able to close this out in a 3-0? If you do, hashtag ROC in chat. We'll cast your vote for them. If you think Method Synergy can get this reverse sweep going, go ahead and drop that hashtag SYN into chat. Now, do you think we see something actually change here, Sea-Doo?
I really don't.
You don't think so at all? You think we just see an all-in again?
I just think it's something they're so comfortable with, and honestly, they're very good at it. I just don't know what they could change at this point. Maldiva's not going to be a big help to that Thundercleave. He's just going to get absolutely turreted. Nerd Rage's going to be sticking on him like glue. I'm not really sure what they have in terms of cleave setups. Maybe the DH Warrior. Maybe you don't play all in. Maybe they go for something more stable, such as the Druid. But right now, with the rest of Shaman, you're just not fooling Rockets. They're not falling for it.
I actually think they might need a caster combo. As surprising as it says, I think maybe a Shadow Priest might be one of the only ways to deal with this. If you have just one caster being shut down or the double melee, you're never going to be able to stick on the Ellie Shaman. If you can play out with like some dots, I actually think maybe Maldiva might be their last desperation attempt. I don't think Demonology, maybe Destruction with the Cremation build and just focus on getting as much damage out as possible, force the Thundercleave away. I think they need to change away from the all-in. It seems like Jamie was more than prepared for it.
I would be so scared if I was Maldiva tagging into this matchup. Rockets Eclipse, Nerd Rage on the Warrior. Yeah, Elemental Shaman. It just seems like they have so much damage. We've seen games in the past with Warriors on Warlocks. It just seems like an automatic win. If you can get the game stalled out long enough, it becomes very difficult. But like you said, Sid, maybe they have no other options.
Yeah, sometimes it's the crazy plays that are rewarded, but let's take a look at what actually forced them into this position in the last game. Sea-Doo, I know there were a few plays that definitely did catch your eye that you were looking at to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And Synergy obviously going strong right off the bat, as we know. They're trying to go for those big openers. They want to make sure they could try and put Rockets on the back foot. And like I said, Rockets is just not really having to trade out that many cooldowns. They're not really being put in a situation where they're that afraid. So, like I said, it was a very bad matchup for Synergy. I'm kind of surprised. This is, in my opinion, a very veteran team. So let's go ahead and get this clip started here. You can see Lian being forced into this leg sweep, and they actually make the decision to go on Lian very early. You can see the pressure going out on him. They only get Bark Skin. Like, Lian's been playing so well defensively the entire time. He doesn't waste that trinket. He has it, I think, throughout the entire duration of his game. Method Synergy, knowing that that was not going to be a strategy that was viable, they actually try and make a very smart swap over here to Jamie. So they're not playing bad. This is definitely a tough matchup for him. They actually get so close to getting the kill here, but they're just... once again, Lian sitting that entire CC chain, so just having the courage to make sure that he's making those plays. And right here, it's just, this is the entire game for Method Synergy. Colo's got nothing left. Lian getting offensive. He's getting those Cyclones, and Mez once again also has nothing left. Doing everything he can, you know, to make sure his team can survive for as long as possible, trying to throw out those death strikes. But Colo is tapped. He's going way too aggressive, and this is definitely not a strategy that's going to work against such a strong team.
Yeah, we've already started to say that this all-in is just something that Rockets is so prepared for at this point, and with only potentially one game left in the series, as you guys have already stated, seeing something change might be the only way for Method Synergy to bring this back. Now, Superteach, you've already mentioned you want to see something that's more caster-based come out. Do you think Maldiva is going to be their secret weapon here?
I mean, that or mirror them. They have Trill that can play Elemental, Mez can play Warrior, Colo can play Resto Druid. I would rather see them mirror, I guess. That would be their safest, but they seem to be a team that never wants to mirror, so I kind of doubt they're going to do it.
Yeah, we saw Sea-Doo shaking his head up here on the desk. What exactly do you think about that?
I mean, it says a lot about Synergy. I think they're a phenomenal Windwalker DK. They don't want that mirror. So to be going against Rockets when they are an incredible Thunder, probably the best Thunder here, matching up to Method Triforce, I just don't think it's a matchup they're going to be able to take. And I don't think it's, you know, when you have the comp advantage, you want to pick a mirror. In this situation. You're down 0-2. Obviously, you need something desperate. We're going to have to see what they decide to go with, but I can't see a mirror out of them.
That's one of the reasons that this is such a crazy matchup. These teams playing for that #1 seed inside of their group as they do move into bracket play. And we look at the team Method Synergy, who actually qualifies with one of the best compositions in the online qualifiers, the last online qualifier, I believe it was qualifier cup number 5. Then they get to NA, they have it in their back pocket, they don't necessarily need to use it. We see them play that double Demon Hunter quite a bit. And then on the other end, Rocket Eclipse now all of a sudden seems to have one of these power compositions.
And I think Method Synergy is in a situation for the first time where they've actually never been down like this. This is not something where they need to put their thoughts like, how do we come back in this series? So this is definitely an uncomfortable situation for them, not one that they're used to. So we're going to have to see how they handle it here on the BlizzCon stage.
Yeah, they're doing it here in front of a giant live audience as well, but we see them switching it up here. What do you think about that Demon Hunter, Venruki?
I think it's going to be difficult. Game 1 was difficult, although it was exceptionally close. I think moving forward into Game 3, Rocket's got to be feeling very comfortable dealing with this strategy. I think in Game number 2 and Game number 1, it really highlights how good of a team they are, just in terms of their defensive positioning. You know, Jamie doing an excellent job, the way he was kiting, Leanne making it difficult for them to get those double setups, and NerdRage really just being where he needs to. When he needed to play defense, he was there for that defensive play, also making sure he was pressuring Colo and punishing him for doing that super aggressive build.
Look at that voting poll right now. That was 50-50 the last time we looked at it.
Yeah, I believe it was actually in Method's favor just slightly. It was like 55%, and I think the fans have spoken. They definitely think Rockets Esports going to be able to close this one out. It would need to be a crazy run. The reverse sweep is necessary here for Method to be able to bring it back, and we are about to jump in. We'll have to see if they can hold on or if Rockets will trample over the NA team.
Go. We're into Ashamane's fall. This could be the fall of Method Synergy as well. The Demon Hunter and Windwalker composition is going to have a lot of uptime, but their sustained pressure will fall off after their initial burst. So as long as Leanne and Jamie position well and kite out the initial all-in, they should be good to go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they do go for that all-in again. Maybe they do change up their target. We said maybe not necessarily the Elemental Shaman isn't their best bet. They might want to turn their attention over onto NerdRage, get that all-in damage and pressure over onto him. Something that could definitely work out. Trill going to be charging in, putting some pressure onto Jamie right away. Imprisonment over onto Leanne. They want to get aggressive once again over onto Jamie. NerdRage might have to come back and actually help out his team. Jamie getting lower and lower. This all-in from Method doing a decent job, but they really only forced it at that Iron Bark. Jamie still has that Astral Shift, and you can see what a good job he's doing kiting around in that Ghost Wolf.
Yeah, Rockets Eclipse played the all-in perfectly, and now Colo will be on the back foot for most of this match, so long as Jamie reacts in time. Touch of Death activated, stun on Leanne. Leanne trinkets out of that right away, realizing the pressure is still on. Mez is trying to find that kill. He's going to get denied the artifacts for now. Triple Fear out from NerdRage, doing everything he can to keep this game going, but Jamie is getting hunted down. Will Method Synergy be able to find the kill in time? There's no defensive cooldowns. If they can just stay on target, Jamie might go down, but he's making it so difficult.
Yeah, Trill has no trinket, Mez has no trinket. That means NerdRage can come back. He can throw out that Stormbolt, and it's going to be very difficult for Method Synergy to actually keep this pressure going. But as I say that, Jamie is getting lower and lower. Imprisonment over onto Leanne, but Jamie is just such a good spot. Only Mez is really able to connect damage right now, and Jamie's doing an excellent job, but he gets interrupted on that heal. Leanne trying to get the hots onto him, but the Spam Purge comes in. Jamie gets taken down. Method Synergy's all in is going to work out in game number 3.
The question is, will they be able to continue this strategy? They have found a win here in the 3rd game. We thought that it was something that all of a sudden the other team knows the strategy. They should be able to shrug it off. But see, what changed? Why were they able to pick up the win here?
Well, what I think Synergy did was they actually didn't go as hard in the opener as they did in previous series. You actually saw Colo holding on to a little bit more mana, so maybe not playing as aggressive, trying to pick and choose his battles. So when Leanne uses Iron Bark, he's not purging into that Iron Bark. He's letting it fall off, and that's why you see the continued pressure a few moments later. But I think Synergy played this very well. I think maybe it was a couple talent choices, switches. I don't know if Mez was playing Nemesis for the first game, but that's 30 seconds of just unrelenting damage from that Demon Hunter. So over the course of that 30 seconds, he's just taking so much damage, and that outlasts the Iron Bark.
As we jump in here and start to take a look at some of those plays, do you think this is actually one of the things where we can see them continuing to switch up the pacing of the all-in to actually catch Rockets off guard after they've been playing against the all-in strategy after several games?
I think it is something that Synergy has to do. If you're going to continue to go all in the entire time, you better believe that Rockets Eclipse is going to know exactly what they want to do. So let's go ahead and get this clip started here. You can kind of see there's a little bit of less pressure in the opener. Leanne actually used Iron Bark as well as the Astral Shift last time. In this scenario, it did not happen. Colo actually gets stunned there immediately. Nerd Rage trying to prevent that. But even so, Jamie getting stuck in the full stuns actually holds on to the Astral Shift smartly. Leanne doing an excellent job communicating. Jamie doing a wonderful job kiting. You see him get away here, tops himself off. But this is what I was talking about with the Nemesis. There's no Iron Bark available. Jamie still has the Astral Shift, but Mez is tearing through it. Nerd Rage doing everything he can with that triple fear to try and shut them down, but this is where it's all over for them. Leanne gets put in that full in cap. There's no Iron Bark, there's no Astral Shift, and it's followed by that half in cap. Colo pushing in right here with the Ascendants available, trying to keep his team alive and be aggressive. He gets that wind shear, followed by that Fist of Fury stun, and that's stopping Jamie from getting those healing surges out when Leanne can't heal him. So excellent job by Synergy. They played it perfect right there.
They definitely did, but it took them a little while to find their footing, so their back's definitely against the wall. They need to do that 2 more times in a row if they want to be able to take first place inside of their group. Emricky, do you think that that is something that is possible for this NA team?
Well, it's going to be difficult. It's definitely possible, but now Rockets has, you know, for the first time, they get to select whatever map they want. They can go for a bigger map. If need be, it's going to be easier for Jamie to actually line of sight Colo, so he's not going to be able to spam, purge out those hots. If they go for something like Tolvaron, I think that big pillar really could pay off. They could also go, maybe try something weird like Blade's Edge, and that Elemental Shaman, they do have that knock as well, but it's not going to be super effective against like a Windwalker Monk and a Demon Hunter who have a lot of mobility.
It's one of those things where the composition isn't actually going to be the most important part of what we usually call the comp advantage. I think it's definitely going to be the map, which has the biggest factor here. Supatees, I feel like a lot of teams haven't been emphasizing the map quite as much, but jumping into this, we've already heard what Emricky wants to see for the map pick. Do you have anything in mind as well?
We haven't seen Cervantes play. He seems to be discussing maybe the option of subbing him in. He was kind of the MVP to get his team here. Death Knights were all in the meta. But I don't think a Death Knight into a Demon Hunter and a Windwalker will work out. Maybe it can out-pressure them. Either way, Tolvaron will be locked in, and that kind of cues me to think that they will be sticking with the same Thunderclave composition, which means Method Synergy have to blind pick, and they're going to stick with the same. I like that Colo didn't go completely all in, like Sidu was pointing out. He saved his purges during defensive cooldowns, waited until they were over, and then initiated again. That was kind of the mistake they made in the first game. They just kind of rolled at them like a bowling ball, expecting to run them over, but it didn't work. So now he's got the breaks to stop it, and then he's purging at really good times. So it's up to Rockets Eclipse to have a strategy now to deal with it.
I think Tolvaron broadcasts pretty clearly the strategy that Rockets is going to be looking to do here.
Yeah, Rockets is definitely trying to, extend this game as long as possible. They want the most room to kite. They want the most room to actually have to play with. They want to be able to get some distance from this insane cleave from Method Synergy. So it's obvious to us that Tolvaron's a smart choice for them as long as they're locking in the same comp. We actually see that Synergy locked in the DH, Windwalker, Resto Shaman once again. They have to stick with their guns at this point. It's their best option in this scenario. This is why it's such a bad place to be down in this spot, because it gives Rockets the opportunity to counter them. But I think Rockets actually has the right comp. Just because they lost a game does not mean that it's something that's not good for them. So I expect them to lock in the same at this point too.
It is pretty clear that this is a bad place to be in as Method Synergy when we kind of look at this draft and go, okay, yeah, that is probably the right pick from Method Synergy. I think the main thing is maybe we see them switch up the strategy just a little bit. I mean, that's the reason they were able to pick up the game. Yes, they were still all in, but as you alluded to, they were able to withhold just a little bit. They actually pulled the trigger a little bit later in the series, and that's when they find Rockets off guard here. But we can see Rockets kind of riding the clock here, Elliot. I think they are just making sure that they actually do dot their I's and cross their T's.
Well, they have a lot of different compositions, like we said, in the qualifier cups as well as the European regionals. These guys were known for cleaving. Cervantes on that Death Knight, as well as Nerd Rage on the Warrior. That's something they could definitely pull out, and it looks like Cervantes will be coming in on this game. This is the composition these guys are known for. They've been doing an excellent job with Thunder so far in this tournament, but these guys are specialists at this TSG.
They were really well known for the TSG as well before they even did have the sponsor. Now, obviously, finding a home on Rockets, but before that, they were known as EMO, and they were definitely known for their TSG. Sidu, how does this composition find wins?
Well, honestly, from my experience, TSG actually lost this composition on NA, obviously, NA is a lot different than EU from what I understand, but if the rest of Shaman played aggressive enough, the Druid actually just couldn't heal through it. They're not going to have that Elemental Shaman kiting, so if it's a Frost DK or a Warrior that's taking that exchange of damage, they're not going to be able to get away. So this can actually be a saving grace here for Synergy. Maybe they messed up, and I also think they may have thrown away their best map for that Thunder if they decide to go back to it. So I'm a little confused with what Rockets is going to do here, obviously considering how much time they took. I think maybe they were a little uncertain with this too, so I'm curious to see how this is going to play out.
I've gone back to this several times because I'll never forget the moment that you actually did say it to me. You were talking about the idea of getting up on the stage and basically knowing each selection and sometimes just being able to make that on the fly very quickly and actually not on the fly, just sitting there and knowing exactly what you want to do. We saw them deliberate for a really long time there. Does it ever get to the point where you start trying to look at so many different factors that you miss something that's right in front of your face?
Yeah, you can for sure miss something that's right in front of your face, and that's why it's very important to talk about it the night before, you know, a few series ahead or something like that. If you're down to 2 minutes and there's a very important decision on the line, there's definitely going to be something that's left out. And I think that happens in a lot of series, and maybe Rockets did talk about this, but this just, it really does seem like a strange matchup. Tolvaron definitely seems like a Thundercleave matchup for me. You got the big map, a lot of room for kiting for Jamie. He's able to get away, and for them to play this melee cleave, I definitely expect for Colo's team to go all in on one of these DPS. I don't think they're going to even try and go for Lian, and we're gonna have to see if it works for them.
Yeah, Rockets jumping in here, trying to close this out. They just need one more, but the NA team Method may be able to tie this all up if they can put the pressure on. Casters, take it away.
Yeah, we're looking to see if Colo can time his purges at critical moments, not burn all that mana too fast, but still find opportunities to use purge. Let's see if they can against Rockets Eclipse. TSG, that Warrior Death Knight Cervantes was MVP on getting his team to this tournament. Can he deliver now on the stage?
Looks like Cervantes is going to be pushing in onto Colo immediately, trying to pressure him down. But it looks like, once again, Method Synergy going for that all-in onto Nerd Rage. A lot of pressure very early on. Full Chaos Nova over on a Lian. Iron Bark as well as Trinket have already been forced out, but now Colo under fire. Astral Shift used immediately. Anti-Magic Zone dropped by Cervantes, trying to slow down some of this damage so they can just train down Colo, not giving Colo any room to get out those purges.
Yeah, Colo seems to be struggling. Darkness dropped down by Mez, but Nerd Rage is low as well. Die by the sword used to sustain himself. Mez charged over to silence Lian into the paralyzed. Good crowd control chain. Nerd Rage is against the ropes. If Colo can get a couple more purges out, Nerd Rage could easily fall. And Synergy is going to tie this up. 2-2, game 5.
Like, I really want to actually break this down because this could just be the biggest misplay coming in here from Rockets because now just one game away. They're both just one game away. It's all going to come down to this game number 5.
Against Method Synergy. I face them all the time on ladder. We were war game buddies when I was going through that North American regional, and this is definitely a strategy that they're not afraid to use. They play all in. We saw that happen. We saw it on Jamie. Jamie's very mobile on that Elemental Shaman. He's able to kite. He's able to get away, but unfortunately for Rockets, when they're playing this melee cleave, these DPS are not going to be able to get away, and I do not think Nerd Rage was expecting to get trained. They probably thought Cervantes was going to be the one. Cervantes in the huddle was probably saying, I will not die to this team. You don't have to worry about me. I got cooldowns to rotate. Nerd Rage only has that die by the sword, and without that, he just fell.
It's one of those things that you have to have experience for as well. I've played against Colo on the ladder, and they can gun down warriors really easy with that composition. And if Nerd Rage isn't ready for it, using Heroic Leap defensively, he overextended really far. He didn't really avoid damage. I don't think he was expecting to take that much damage. Usually the warrior is the last target you want to hit. But when you add an Electrocute and your Method Synergy, you can find ways to get through that defensive stance as well. And now that we're tied 2-2, I can't help but feel that Rockets Eclipse overthought the matchup. I think if they just played well as Thundercleave, it would have worked out for them. And if they are going to go like cleave for cleave, I don't think they can have the Druid, because this happened at the European Championship where we saw Botar bullied off his Druid and onto Shaman, and then it just was literally an all-in race between two teams, and this might be where we're going.
Yeah, you can't ever count out a North American team. Now, Sidhu, let's actually unpack how they were able to jump back into this series.
Absolutely. I love the way Rocket starts off this game. You see Cervantes Wraith walking immediately at Colo. He has his target locked in. Let's go ahead and get this clip started. He knew that his job is to pressure Colo right here, and Frost DK's absolutely destroyed Resto Shamans, but not as hard as a DH and a Windwalker on that Warrior. You see that in cap on Lian. He goes with the Iron Bark, and this is something that Lian actually had happen to him. He was put in a position where he's uncomfortable. He gets the Iron Bark and the Trinket. He's trying to hold on to that die by the sword from Nerd Rage, and they do, but unfortunately only a few moments later you see that Syndragosa come in. The die by the sword is actually forced here from Rockets, and this is a position where Method Synergy is just absolutely going to win. After this die by the sword, there are no cooldowns left. Colo knows he's going to use everything defensively here to keep his team going, and he's just going to purge every single global. He doesn't care about his health. He doesn't care about his mana. The only thing he sees are buffs, and he's going after him, and Nerd Rage falls immediately after that.
I will say, even though all of a sudden it is right in Method's grasp, we will see that Rockets Esport does still have that comp advantage. Do you think it will come into play here, Venruki?
I think that Rockets really mind-game themselves. I think they have the answer for Method Synergy as long as they execute. They did it excellently in game number 1, game number 2. They lost game number 3. It was a very close game, though. I mean, they could have just survived a little bit longer. Lian had his Iron Bar coming up in 2 seconds when Jamie fell. Now, going into game 4, switching up their composition, this is a matchup I'm sure they haven't played too often. I mean, they are experts at that Death Knight Warrior composition, but when going up against Method Synergy, they have that all-in strategy. It seemed like they knew how to deal with it with the Elemental Shaman, with Jamie, but now it's a different story.
You know, when you have a little bit of a buffer, it's a lot easier to be playing against one of these all-in compositions because, you know, you can just, you know what's coming, you can start to play around it, but the thing is here, if a single mistake is made, all of a sudden this series is gone here, Sidu.
Yeah, Rockets Eclipse had such a great advantage, and like I said last game, I feel like they kind of threw away their best map. If you wanted to try this, try it on a smaller map where maybe you can run them down, you can out-aggress them, but if you're going to throw away the biggest map on the comp that you may need to come back from, I think maybe it was a little lackluster there for Rockets. I don't know if they were actually expecting them to pick the same comp after they picked Tolvaron, and when they locked that in, maybe they changed some of their decisions they were going to make, but I have to say a little bit of a misplay from Rockets, who's been playing phenomenal the entire time in both picks, bans, or excuse me, not picks and bans, but picks, counter comps, and so on and so forth. So I'm a little surprised to see Rockets slip up right there.
Yeah, well, the thing is now, do you think Method Synergy said just sticks to their guns here and goes all in, or do they just try to completely switch it up on him? I mean, sticking to their guns has worked so far.
I don't think they're going to change. Methods Energy have probably discussed this. They said even if we start questioning it, keep playing it. If it works, don't change it. So we're about to find out. Tiger's Peak, a very neutral map. Ellie Shaman can abuse it a bit by jumping up and down on the balcony. So this looks to be setting up for a Thundercleave, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is if they go in with this Thundercleave, they already have found quite a few wins with it as well. Method Synergy here going to stick to their guns, assuming that Colo will go all in. How do you think that will go down here, Sidu, on Tiger's Peak?
Well, I really think it's kind of up to Jamie. Like Sid was saying, he can use that balcony, making sure the melee can't hit him. And I think if Jamie plays this map perfectly, it's definitely going to be in favor of Rockets. So maybe I was the fool, and Tolvaron was not their best map. Maybe this was their ace in the hole. So I think Rockets doing a great job picking the map. I'm going to have to see if they actually decide to go with that Thunder once again. Maybe they feel like they can't out-survive that pressure. I know I'm not the best Druid, but playing against a pressure like that, you cannot heal. Every interrupt, every purge, just stopping you from healing, it kind of feels like you're useless. So I think Synergy's doing a great job. We haven't seen Rockets shaken this entire tournament, so for them to kind of put them on the back foot after being down 2 games definitely shows a lot for Method Synergy.
Hey man, if you need some practice on that Druid, let me know. I'm definitely down to help you out.
Richard's Warrior, do not.
All right.
I warned you.
Sid, stop talking here. All right. So going into this one, we actually do see a little bit more of their strategy. Maybe Rockets Eclipse had played this out one in advance, wanted to try to get that TSG out and actually eliminate that map because they did have that composition advantage. They did have that little bit of a buffer. So all of a sudden, maybe it starts to make a little bit of sense. Maybe we actually can see where the thought was in the madness. But Rockets here is kind of riding the clock. We saw them get to this position when they actually did lock in the thing that did surprise us. So maybe they lock in the TSG again. I think that would be probably not the best move here. Venruki, what do you think?
If they don't lock in Thunder, I will be absolutely blown away. We talked about the platforms on Tiger's Peak. Jamie's going to be able to use that on his Elemental Shaman. On the other hand, a Demon Hunter really doesn't care about that. He can just double jump up on the platform, trill on that Windwalker Monk. If he places his portal aggressively, he can actually port on top of that platform as well.
No
but
way.
It looks like they're actually going for a mirror.
This
not
is
a mirror. Close to a mirror.
EU Championship all over again. Lian says, okay, I'm benching my Druid. You're going to bully me out of the game. I'm going to bully you back, and this is going to be a bloodbath.
This is such a good way for it to all go down. Cedo, are we just going to see an absolute slugfest here?
Well, I played a lot of Resto Shaman into that DH Windwalker, and I feel like it is an absolute nightmare. If Mez decides to play Nemesis like Thugonomics used to do, if they get to that second Metamorphosis, the first one is going to force Trinket and Link, and the second one is going to be absolute death. So we're going to see if Lian's ready for this. I don't know if he is. I haven't seen Resto Shaman from him too often. I know he's a fantastic Druid, but I think Synergy may definitely be able to take this one with the reverse sweep.
Yeah, some things in favor of Method Synergy as well, as this is a composition they've got to play against Splice. Splice plays this composition all the time. They played Windwalker DK into it, so they know the ins and outs of this matchup. We'll have to see if Rockets has that much experience.
It almost seems like Rockets is just playing themselves here. On the other end, we have Method just sticking to their guns, not getting in their head, just playing their game. And they're about to make the reverse sweep dream happen here, representing North America against this European team.
Just in previous games, we've seen Holy Paladin out aggro Resto Shaman. So I'm almost wondering maybe if Lian should have played Holy Paladin instead. We saw the Chinese teams using that to take games off of Method Synergy as well. The Shaman versus Shaman is just so volatile. Anybody's going to die. If you get caught stunned without Earth Shield for literally 1.5 seconds, you're probably destroyed. So this is going to be a quick one for sure.
One of the things, too, is we started to give them the benefit of the doubt because Rockets Esports being such an incredible team here and really a force to be reckoned with. I mean, Chuck, you straight up said that you think that they were one of the teams that could win this entire thing. So we see that one pick and we're like, okay, one bad pick does not spell a bad team, not at all. But all of a sudden, it seems like they're really starting to get into their head here. And Method Synergy is the exact team that you do not want to be doing that against.
Definitely, and I think Rockets Eclipse maybe have overthought it a little bit, but I'm going to let the casters go ahead and take this one away because the game is about to get started.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 5, Rockets Eclipse versus Method Synergy. EU versus NA decided here and now.
Yeah, incapacitate over onto Jamie. You can see Mez is actually playing that Nemesis, so they are looking for that all in. I don't know who Rockets Eclipse is going to be going on. They could try to make something happen onto Colo with that leg sweep. A lot of pressure coming into Colo very early on. Darkness was dropped by Mez. That is enough to keep Colo alive. Looks like Lian is taking a little bit of damage right now from Trill, but Mez just so far away, he's not able to help.
Yeah, Mez is having a hard time reconnecting, now making his way over to Lian. Will Lian fall to the pressure? Colo was tested, now Lian will. Anti-magic zone, is it enough? We're about to find out as Lian is barely hanging on. It looks like Jamie's peeling him away with Fist of Fury, but Spirit Link forced out very early on. That's going to give them a huge lead. Method Synergy are looking great in this match so far.
Yeah, Lian really doesn't have too many defensive cooldowns left. Trill and Mez are still pushing the pace right now. So much pressure over onto Lian. Gets caught into that Fist of Fury, and a lot of bursts coming in with that Whirling Dragon Punch. At the same time, though, Colo taking a lot of pressure, caught in that Fist of Fury stun. He still has the Spirit Link Totem. Is he going to be able to drop it? Drops the Spirit Link Totem, stabilizing his HP. Lian gets interrupted, though. If Mez and Trill can connect, Colo looking to get aggressive as well. Can Lian survive just a little bit longer? He's trying to kite away with that Ghost Wolf. Full leg sweep. Can Mez and Trill take him down? Chaos Nova coming in as well.
At the same time. Both Shamans are Colo. It's like down to a 2v2. 2v2. Cervantes Jamie versus Mez and Trill. At this point, Jamie doesn't have touch of karma. Trill doesn't either, but Mez is so low. Mez is just running away for his life. He's got nothing left in the tank. Flies up in the air in desperation to get some damage out. Trill has nothing. He's on the run. Rockets Eclipse are looking to close this. It was so in favor for them, but they ultimately fell behind. Mez and Trill doing their best. Jamie is low. Maybe they can pull off the miracle and may go down to a 1v1. Mez and Jamie both danger low. 1v1. Trill versus Cervantes.
Trill needs to get away. He needs resets. If Trill can just survive, use that portal, use that Windwalker mobility, I think he actually is favored in this matchup, but he needs to hold on just a little bit longer. If he doesn't have touch of karma, trading with the Frost Death Knight is not exactly the best decision.
Oh, perfect portal right when Cervantes jumped down, and Trill is just going to focus on evading Cervantes. He needs to stay as far away for as long as possible until his touch of karma is available. So Trill's going to stall this out. Maybe even look for reses. Cervantes doesn't have the ability to res, and that's going to be something that Cervantes has to keep an eye on. If Trill puts his portal on top of someone's body, he can portal back and res them. He's going to paralyze. He's just going to go for the safe 1v1. Touch of death, leg sweep. Seconds before Cervantes' trinket is available as Trill looks to close. Cervantes deflects with the anti-magic shell, avoiding out of line of sight, but he's not going to have any self-healing unless he can death strike, and if he's spending all the runic power to death strike, he's not going to do any damage, and this is looking like Trill is going to take it.
Yeah, Trill just needs to hold on a little bit longer. He got Cervantes' trinket. Icebound Fortitude not going to be available for quite some time, and this is why Windwalker monks are so exceptionally good in this 1v1. He can just hide around this pillar, wait for his cooldowns to come back up. He still has a Storm Earth and Fire charge. He still has his touch of karma. This is looking exceptional for Trill.
Yeah, Trill just mounting up. Cervantes mounting up as well. He's realized that I think he's in disbelief that they lost at the end of this, so he really doesn't have any options. He can't. He's going for the res. He's threatening the res, and that means Cervantes has to come back. He's running in and out. Trill's trying to find the best position to set up for the res. Cervantes is trying to bait him into it, and it's going to be a bit of a mind game. Trill has all of his cooldowns. He's looking for the clean, easy kill. He's trying to bait the trinket here with a Fist of Fury maybe before the leg sweep. I'm really curious to see if he goes for the leg sweep first. He goes for the leg sweep. No trinket available. Maybe Cervantes is playing blood off. Tons of damage to follow it up, and Trill is going to play it out clean to the book as he's looking to close. Cervantes denies, but there's absolutely nothing he can do at this point. And Method Synergy take Rockets Eclipse 5-3.
So insane.
The reverse sweep! My goodness, welcome to BlizzCon!
That is absolutely the best series I've ever seen in my entire life. That was just so exciting from the start to the finish. That game 5 had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Trill with that epic 1v1, the cross kill. What else could you want from a series? This is BlizzCon. I don't know what to say. I am speechless at this point.
Oh my goodness, Trill, we knew that you were one of the best players in the world, but now you're going to be able to prove it on the BlizzCon main stage. Method, how were they able to do it?
I mean, honestly, I am still so shocked from that series. I was literally gasping the entire time. I cannot believe it. They got the kill on Leanne. I knew it was going to be a fast game. They crossed that kill. When Mez flew up in the air, right before that, I thought it was over. I forgot he was playing that talent. He gets up in the air and makes sure he survives, and Trill sets that kill up solo. Mez comes down, swoops in, get the kill. Unfortunately, he dies, but Windwalker Monk's so powerful in that 1v1. Honestly, Cervantes did not have a chance.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Method! Oh my goodness! Oh my god, we have one more game left. I just don't even know. I don't even know. This is absolutely insane. Both of these teams still going to be in this tournament. Method has earned themselves a bye. And now we will see Rockets having to play against Panda Global. That was one of the most insane things I've seen in my entire life.
Every BlizzCon is better than the past. I seriously think so. Literally year after year, I'm just more and more impressed by the competition and level of play. I thought that was over. I thought Rockets Eclipse was walking away with the series. Method Synergy stick to the guns. They stick to the strategy that got them this far in the first place and just put it to them.
It's these young guys, too. We already talked about it just a little bit when we were actually at opening week. We were just having these new players come up. We saw last year, we saw Trill playing for Turtastics. He was actually healing then. And now, just up on the main stage, looking like an absolute veteran. But this guy, he's one of the younger guys.
Yeah, and not a lot of talk about Trill. I know Ven gives him credit all the time, and he does not get enough credit. We've said it once, we'll say it again. After that play, how could you not respect that player? That is absolutely insane. In that 2v2, it looked like Method Synergy was down and out. Mez was at 30%. I think Trill was at 40%. They were able to hang on and turn that one around. And let's not forget, this is coming back from a reverse sweep. They were able to win that down from 2-0, so just such a phenomenal job by Method Synergy. And I'm kind of asking myself the question, did Rockets kind of mind game themselves a little bit here?
Oh my goodness, the only thing I can think about is what on earth is Trill going to say? He's on the floor right now with Jackson. Trill, tell us how you're so good.
Rich, that sounds like a fantastic question. I don't know if you heard Rich. He said, Trill, how are you so good? In my best Rich impression.
I've just been playing the game for a long time. I put a lot of effort in, and I've picked up a bunch of classes after regionals to really give us the best edge here.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the most epic things that I've ever seen on the Warcraft stage and hosting for the past 3 years. Walk me through the end of that match. What was going on in your team communications there?
Well, I saw the DK use IBF really early on, and as soon as Mez killed the Demon Hunter, the DK, and he died, I knew I had to try to play really defensive, get all my cooldowns back, and I was going to win that eventually. So I just played really carefully, kept replacing my port, dealing myself, dispelling Frost here, and I just played to win.
Yeah, and when you did, that was amazing. Like, give it up for him once again. So, not to let the 1v1 outshine the epicness of the fact that you guys just came back from an 0-2 deficit, right? So the fact that you guys just took out one of the best teams from EU, what does that do for your confidence moving forward into day 2?
They're definitely a super strong team, and I think that just shows that, you know, NA isn't out of this. We can still play really good comps, and we have what it takes to win.
So speaking of winning, absolutely. Speaking of winning, you guys have been consistently putting on awesome games for us here. What do you think it's going to take for you guys to maybe win it all?
We just gotta take what we learned from that series in itself and just stay positive moving forward. You know, you never, even if you're down 0-2, you might be able to pull back a reverse sweep like that.
Absolutely. So one last thing. It sounds like you have a fair amount of support from the crowd today. Do you have any words for the people here supporting you today and the people watching at home?
My parents are here, over there, and a lot of members from my guild, Limit, are over there, and they've been super supportive, and I'm really thankful that they're here and they're cheering me on.
I think it's safe to say we're all cheering you on here. Definitely want to continue to see you guys be successful moving on to the tournament. Good luck. Awesome job. Back to you, Rich.
Oh, man, I think that NA is in safe hands right now with Trill. We may be able to see NA take a BlizzCon here. What an absolutely crazy series that was. We do have one more in store for all of you, though, so don't go anywhere. The next one is going to be just as exciting.